Hello, welcome to Ray-ality TV. I'm Raymond Bakari, and today I'm joined by the Lieutenant Governor here in the great state of Rhode Island, Sabina Matos. Lieutenant Governor Matos, how are you today?
Really good. Thank you, Raymond. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thanks for the invitation.
And thanks for coming on the show. It's a pleasure of mine to have you on. Just diving right into it here, you were selected to be Lieutenant Governor a few months back after then Lieutenant Governor McKee was promoted to governor once Governor Raimondo had became President Biden's Commerce Secretary. What was that overall feeling like when you found out that you would be the state's next Lieutenant Governor, and who did you end up hearing that news from?
So I heard the news directly from the governor. I was invited to come for another interview with him. I was told that the governor had more questions for me. And when I came for that second round of interview with him, he informed me. And honestly, I cannot quote directly what he said because everything seems to be like a blur right now. But I just felt like, oh my God, this is really happening. This is for real. So it was a overwhelming feeling of happiness, a mix of emotions, a little bit of hesitation, happiness, and excitement all together.
And the office itself has quite a history. You've had like candidates running for the office like Bob Healy for years who wanted to close it down because he felt it wasn't effective enough. But we've seen then Lieutenant Governor McKee use the office very effectively, and same with yourself currently. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions that people have about the office of Lieutenant Governor?
So because the offices don't run together as a ticket right now in the state of Rhode Island, everyone just in traditionally they have not been a lot of collaboration between the two offices. For the public in large, they believe that there's nothing else that the office does, but there's a lot of work that the office of Lieutenant Governor does. And just like when Governor McKee, when he was Lieutenant Governor, he ensured to his priority were working with the small business community and prioritizing the small business community. During the pandemic, he has been very active with the small business community and with the micro business community. If you think about it, also Lieutenant Governor Roberts, she did a lot of work around the healthcare. So the beauty of the office that gives us the flexibility to prioritize the things that are important to us while continuing doing the work that the office already is mandated with. The office has legislation that mandates to work with the long-term care coalition, with the emergency management of the state, also with the small business, just a small business coalition, among other areas. But in my case, I'm prioritizing housing also. It's a topic that is very important to me based on my experience working in the city council, but also before that, being a board member of Univille Housing, which is now one neighborhood builder. I have seen firsthand the challenges that the state of Rhode Island has when it comes to housing.
And you had recently visited all 39 cities and towns within the state for your first 100 days trip as a lieutenant governor all around the state. What surprised you so far about this job? And was there anything you had taken away from going all around the state?
So it has been amazing. This is amazing to see the different part of the state of Rhode Island. I have been working within the urban corridor as the council person for Providence and council president for Providence, but going to the other communities and seeing the other cities and towns, other neighborhoods, their characteristics that is different from their urban community. It has been an eye-opening for me. And also I have experienced great things about Rhode Island, things that I didn't know about. Like one of the most exciting things that I have done is going quail-hogging. Like that was an experience, going in Warwick with the mayor and the other like the leaders from the Warwick area, and we went in the water with the governor also was there. Governor McKee was there, and I experienced raking the ocean myself. So it was something new, but this is such a big part of Rhode Island. It's something that I didn't know much about it. So that's just one example.
And now we know what office you do technically plan to run for in 2022, since you're the incumbent lieutenant governor. Before, it was looking like it was going to be mayor of Providence, but that wasn't
Yes.
necessarily confirmed. What issues do you plan to highlight in a 2022 reelection bid? Because I know you touched upon housing in that the last answer. I mean, the one before that.
Yes, and before this appointment, I was getting ready to run for mayor of the city of Providence. For next year, 2022, I'm planning to run for re-election for the position of lieutenant governor. Again, I'm going to continue to prioritize the housing as there's a lot of work to do in that area. That I think if we continue the way things are going right now, in which we have the Speaker of the House, we have the Senate President, we have the governor and my office all prioritizing housing, I think we can solve the many of the challenges that we're having right now when it comes to housing. I'm looking for getting to a point in which here in Rhode Island, we have the functional zero, which is a terminology that basically is almost like eliminating homelessness, but there's always going to be reasons why someone can become homeless. But when that happens, it will be addressed so fast that it would be almost technically eliminating the problems of homelessness. So that's my goal. I think that is doable in a state like Rhode Island. We can make that happen. So that's one of my priorities. Again, continue the work with the small business community, which I did a lot of work also before when I was in the Providence City Council. And now I have been doing a lot of work continuing on what the Governor McKee was doing when he was lieutenant governor. So I'm going to continue to prioritize those areas. This is an area of interest of mine that I'm going to be working closely with, and it's the problem of the child care, the lack of child care available right now, and how that is affecting the workforce, especially for the females, for women that have been leaving the workforce. So there is so much that I want to get accomplished, and I'm looking forward to working with my team to make it happen.
And you had touched upon small businesses, which is actually one of the biggest issues that your predecessor, when he was lieutenant governor, was advocating for, which is small businesses. You touched upon that you are currently working on expanding his vision. What has been done currently to continue his vision to help small businesses?
So we continue having the frequent communication with the micro businesses and small business community. We continue to have our town hall conversation every week on Tuesdays at noon. So make sure to turn in for that and join us. We continue to have those conversations and have the opportunity of bring the different directors of these different state departments to address the issues and concerns of the business community directly. We also hear from the Small Business Administration Director, Mark Hayward, who provide information every week about what are the newest information coming from Washington. So we continue to have that. Also, we are bringing back the Small Business Advisory Coalition. We're going to have our meeting this week coming up. And I've been getting a lot of feedback in information from past members and current members of the coalition. And I'm looking forward to implementing many of their suggestions that have been brought to me.
And another big issue that Governor McKee was advocating for as lieutenant governor, he had a strong point of view in favor of charter schools and the expansion of them. And he's more in favor of charter schools than most of the members of the state legislature are currently. Where do you stand on the expansion of charter schools?
I'm the record. I have been a supporter of charter school. I believe the charter school are part of the solution. I don't think they are the only solution. We need different strategies, but I can tell you as a mother of kids that went to charter school, I really appreciate the opportunity and the, it's almost like a lab with new options that is presented for the families. I have always said that I don't think it's right for me to say that charter schools are good for my kids, but are not good for other parents as a choice for their children. So I'm in support of charter schools. I think there's an option that can help us and solve the challenges that we have right now in education.
And, there are members of the state legislature and even of the Providence City Council that aren't in favor of the expansion of charter schools. And you had worked with some of them on the council. Some of them were your colleagues, and currently the lieutenant governor would be working with, the speaker and Senate president on this issue. And, while you and Governor McKee are more in favor of the charter schools, those a lot more in your party aren't. What do you personally feel could be attributed to why they're so hesitant on this expansion of charter schools?
I had conversations with several council members, with some council members that I have a really close working relationship with, that have an opposite view when it comes to the charter school. I had conversations with them. I tried to talk to them from my experience as a mother, looking for options for education for my kids. I believe that not every child that goes to a charter school necessarily is the child that is coming out of the regular school district. Charter school are public school. When you send your child to a charter school, you don't have to pay it out of pocket. Who I think is suffering the most with this, with the expansion of charter schools, that actually has been the parochials and private schools, because a lot of parents that were sacrificing a lot in order to pay for a private school for their children now have the opportunity they have options for education for their kids when they have the opportunity to apply to go to a charter school.
And while we're still talking about education, there's still debate on whether or not the state takeover of the Providence schools should keep on going. How much longer do you personally feel the state takeover should keep on going in Providence?
Right now, we have to remember the takeover happened like 2 months after, in March of 2020, the pandemic starts, everything shuts down. So it's really tough to judge whether the takeover has worked or doesn't work based on the experience that we had right now. It's not fair with COVID and in the pandemic that has derailed the work that the school department and the RIE was doing. I think it was not ready right now. We're not ready to return the PPSD to Providence. I think that we still have to give them more time to be able to implement the original plan that was in place, because due to the pandemic, that hasn't been possible.
And, aside from charter schools and the state takeover, school choice has also been brought up a number of times in the discussion of the issue of education. To my understanding, the proposal sounds like the tax dollars would fund the students instead of the systems, and the parents would be able to choose where their child goes, and their educational opportunities wouldn't be limited by their zip code. What's your stance on school choice?
I believe that the parents should have the opportunity to choose where they want to send their children to school. I believe that we should have the opportunity to have the charter school to be an option for parents to send their kids. They continue to be an option in which it would be free for them. It's not funding that is coming out of their pockets that they have to find additional resources for. So I really believe that the parents should have the options to choose whether they want to send their kids to a regular traditional school district or they want to go to charter school.
And now circling back to the office of Lieutenant Governor, there are a lot of elected officials in our state that believe the governor and lieutenant governor, and you touched upon this toward the beginning, should run on the same ticket, like how it's done in neighboring states like Massachusetts and Connecticut, for example. Are you in favor of that proposal? And what benefits could come with that change if you are in favor of it?
Oh, I'm completely in favor of changing the state constitution to make sure that the office of the governor and lieutenant governor works in collaboration and they can run together as a ticket. I think that right now, as we can see, Governor McKee was the one that was able to chose who was going to replace him as the lieutenant governor. And him and I have a lot of areas in which we are in alignment when it comes to a small business, school choices. So it makes things easier for us to work together. He has been very open to opening the doors for me to join him in several conversations and several meetings and events. And I think that's the way it should be. I think that's the way that benefits the state of Rhode Island the most. We have to make sure that there's a continuity of government in the state of Rhode Island, that whenever we have a situation in which we just had right now, that the Secretary Raimondo got appointed to be the Secretary of Commerce, that the Lieutenant Governor is able to step in and is more up to date on everything that is going on within the state government. So I think that will only benefit the state of Rhode Island.
While still on the topic of the office, while there are people who think those two positions should run on the same ticket, there are still also some elected officials, some have been on the show, who think that the office should be closed down and have that $1 million a year that the office costs to operate out of the budget to something else, like an inspector general's office. What's your response to those who want to close down the office?
I think that this year it was proven that we need to have the office. Again, just going back to Governor Raimondo being appointed Secretary of Commerce. So in the Lieutenant Governors, this is why we have the office. The Lieutenant Governor step in and fulfill the role of the governor. This is very important to make sure that it's a stability in government in the state of Rhode Island. In this office, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, there is a lot of work that we're doing, and there is a lot of work that can be done in this office. So I think this office is needed, and we should continue to have the office.
And now shifting to for my last two topics, the non-political topics. When preparing for this interview, I noticed that you're a Rick alumni, and you graduated in 2001 with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Public Relations, right?
That is correct. Yes. Go Rick.
And this is one of my favorite questions to ask to Rick alumni, because I attend the college myself currently. Can you reflect on what your time was like as a Rick student and what you missed the most about it?
I really, when I joined Rick, I had been in the country for a year and a half, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 2 years. 2 years and a half, almost 3 years and a half, 3 years when I joined Rick. So I was really shy, and believe it or not, but if you talk to some of my classmates that met me back then, I was really shy. I didn't used to live on campus. I used to come, take my classes, go back home, and commute. But I made some great friends while I was at Rick. I really miss that contact with my classmate. I love Rick has this campus is so beautiful, and I was able to go back and see the changes that had happened that has just even enhanced the beauty of the Rick. And it's so close to us here in Rhode Island, and especially for me that we're living in Providence. So it's a great option. So whenever I have the opportunity, anybody asks me, like, you should go to Rick. Rick is a good school, and it's a good option.
Absolutely. And it was one of the most convenient options when I was selecting what colleges to go to, because it's like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute drive away. I don't have to be forced to live on campus. And, the campus is beautiful. I've only been there once for a tour. So knocking on wood, hopefully when September 8th comes, I can go in person as a sophomore. So just now looking at my final question, which is one that I ask everyone here on the show to keep tradition. And that is, in your opinion, what do you think Rhode Island is best known for?
Rhode Island is best known for I can tell you from my experience, when I travel, I hear, oh, you're from that place that have water fire. That's one of the best reference that I get. I always hear a lot about Newport. It's an area that Rhode Island is well known for. And we have so many other areas that we can be known for. I'm looking forward to seeing how we're going to be promoting Rhode Island outside of Rhode Island for people to come and visit us as a destination. We are a great place. You can come here to Rhode Island and spend a week. You can have a couple of days in Newport. You can go to Block Island. You can come to Providence. You can go to see any of the areas of the lakes. We have lakes, we have access to the water everywhere. So this is a great place to visit. So all of you that are watching that are outside of Rhode Island, make sure you make your way here. You're gonna enjoy it.
It's definitely a beautiful state, and geographically, it's just like in one of the perfect spots of the country. You know, water everywhere, beautiful mountains, beautiful beaches. And I got to ask, since you had mentioned what people from out of state say, they said water fire. I know recently you had met with Eric Adams, who's the Democratic nominee in the New York City mayoral election. Was there any conversations about the confusion of Rhode Island being somewhere in Long Island?
So actually, when I said hello to him, that's the first thing I said to him. I'm from Rhode Island, not Long Island. So I always make the point to clarify to New Yorkers when I'm saying that I'm from Rhode Island, because we always get confused with Long Island. So we had a good laugh about that, because I made sure to let him know that it was Rhode Island.
It's so true. Everybody out of state always says, "Oh, isn't that somewhere in New York?" And it's like, no, right in between Mass and Connecticut. You know, smallest state in the country, right there, Rhode Island. Lieutenant Governor Matos, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure of mine to have you on.
Thank you, Raymond. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
And thank you once again for watching this episode of Ray-ality TV. If you want to see future episodes as soon as they're posted on the channel, please click the subscribe button down below, along with the post notification bell icon to the right of it. I'm Raymond Bakari. I'll see you on the next episode.